Good morning. My name is Reverend Kylie Renner, and on behalf of the entire One Spiritual Center community, I want to welcome you here this morning. Thank you for bringing your love into this space on this beautiful Albuquerque morning. Thank you for joining us if you're watching online. So I have to tell you that one of the great things about being an early riser is that I often get to see and experience things that other people don't. While we were in Spain, it was possible to walk along the cliffs to get to a beach and be there swimming in this amazing water all by myself for hours before anyone else woke up, which was incredibly lovely. But I have to tell you, the reentry has been very, very difficult for me because 8 hours time change later and being an early riser means that I have been up very, very, very early all week. Still, my body can't get used to it. But part of the joy of that has been watching the world wake up around here, which normally I'm up, but I'm not out. And we've been out walking before sunrise. And this week with that amazing full moon we had, we were walking right as the light was starting to change, and there were these two amazing big owls talking to each other in the trees. We could just catch a glimpse of them, and there's something about that, right? Like about catching the things that you don't normally see, the things you almost only just hear. And there's a great beauty of that for me right now, just feeling kind of disoriented in all of it and letting that guide some different perspectives. And so I have more to say about that this morning, as I've had some interesting experiences just trying to come back to this place in time that we're all living in together. and figuring out how to navigate that. And so we're going to dive right in. Might as well start with prayer. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, just taking this opportunity to breathe into this time and space with all the things that are shifting and changing inside of us, calling for our awareness, calling for our clarity and our peace. And I just recognize the power and the presence of the One right here and now. Unfolding itself right in the middle of whatever it is that has our attention in this moment. And I just call forward whatever it is that needs our awareness so that we may be refilled, so that we may remember the love and the freedom that we are. And I just lean deeply into this very moment. And I let it be. And so it is.
Yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in. Shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Shine your light in me. Shine your light into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Oh, wonderful Spirit.
To prepare for our meditation this morning, there's a short new poem from David White. It's on his upcoming book that'll be coming out in October, entitled Still Possible, which I love the name. And I'll share a little bit more about that later. But this is it's a short poem, so I'm going to read it twice. And it's entitled For the Road to Santiago. For the road to Santiago, don't make new declarations about what to bring and what to leave behind. Bring what you have. You were always going that way anyways. You were always going there all along. For the road to Santiago, don't make new declarations about what to bring and what to leave behind. Bring what you have. You are always going there. You are always going that way anyway. You are always going there all along. And so we just take that energy of taking what we have with us, knowing that we were always going that way all along, and we allow the meditation to move us.
That was a tune called Journey of Water by John Bartlett. Here's a song by Horse Soup. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So I'm usually someone who's very, very focused. I find it easy to focus on what's right in front of me and get things done. And I have to tell you that for the last week or so, I have felt really unfocused and trying to figure out what's going on and why that is. And I honestly know that part of it is because that we have quite a lot going on right now in our own personal household, with all the things that we deferred, saying, oh, we'll wait till we get back from Spain to take care of that. And everything's kind of exploding in all these beautiful ways. And I sold my first official piece of furniture that I took the helm of restoring this week, and we had to ship it off to San Francisco, and so there's all this really, really good stuff going on, but it's always also I think that this is what the direction I'm going, and all of a sudden, nope, that's not what's happening today, or not happening in the next 10 minutes. And it's been really strange to be in that space, especially because I'm not used to it. And what it's led me to is to some thoughts about just kind of the general overwhelm that I think all of us are experiencing right now. And I don't think I'm the only one that's feeling like, oh my God, there's a lot going on right now. No matter where we thought we were in, for example, the COVID cycle that we were experiencing together, there's also all of this, just so much unknown, and there's weather things happening, and political things worldwide happening, and all kinds of things that are happening. And I don't need to make my list known to you, but I honestly, if I start to look at all of the things that are going on right now, it's hard not to feel completely overwhelmed by it. To feel like, how is it that we are supposed to navigate this time that we're living in, while remembering who we are and what we've come here to do and be, and bringing that to the surface, even when it feels difficult to do so. So I realize that part of feeling really unfocused is underneath there is this piece of what do I not want to be paying attention to? If I can get myself all wrapped up in all the busyness and all of the things that I think need my attention, what is it that I don't then need to pay attention to that's really going on inside of me? And it's interesting to be willing to have that deeper kind of conversation with the busyness and the chaos, just the everyday chaos that says, why am I creating this? What is it beneath the surface that I'm really not interested in paying attention to or looking at? What is it that being unfocused allows me to do and get away with not remembering? What is it that allows me to escape from? And those are hard questions, right? Especially when what's on the other side of that is often a lot of uncertainty and fear, a lot of feeling like we don't know exactly how to maneuver in this time. And so I realize that there's something deeper happening. I know that is calling to us, and it requires us to not get our vision distorted. It looks like someone's here to pick up concrete, and this is a terrible time. So if my husband emerges out of somewhere, you can have him go talk to somebody. That would be awesome. I have no idea where he went. I hope Yeah, I saw him leave. But see, unfocused, right? There are things going on all over the place, and they just emerge right at the perfectly worst time. So what I realized about all of this deeply is that there's a call for us to look at where we've gotten our vision distorted, where we stop being able to see clearly that there's something bigger going on. And this is especially important, I think, when feeling unfocused. So I have a prescription from my allergy doctor that's this like gel that goes in my eyes when they get really, really, really irritated. And what's interesting about it, I'm sure some of you have had this experience with something similar, but you put it in and then you cannot see because everything is blurry. And so there's this like this sense in which like my vision gets so distorted that nothing else can happen. And I think that about that sometime when I know I've lost focus or my focus has gone away from where it should be. Focus, Kylie, focus, right? That distortion means that I cannot see anything clearly, not even the simplest things. And it is really necessary to open to this idea of like, how can I make sure that I am not trying to hide from what's really going on by causing myself to be so unfocused that I cannot see and be and feel what really needs to happen. So that's what I love about what David White shared this week about his upcoming poetry book, because it's entitled Still Possible, as I shared earlier. And what he says about that is really interesting to me. He says it's a title which perhaps speaks to all of us at every threshold in our lives, but most particularly in this time, as we put our heads above the COVID parapet and look back on to get back on our pilgrim road again. Of course, as the lines in that poem reminded us, even half hidden away, or even before we feel we have begun again, we are still on the road and have always have been. And I think that that's what being able to focus and focus on the right thing can allow us to do, is to remember that we're on the road, and we've always been on the road, whether we're in COVID times or we're not, whether we're in times of great change or not. Like, we've always been on this road. We've never not been in this evolutionary process. We've never not been in the middle of great change. It just looks different right now. And it feels different. And so how do we make sure that we have our focus on that which can allow us to make sure that we're letting this very potent and powerful time really move us in the direction we need to be moved along that road, while we don't lose our focus on the depth of this experience. And so certainly there are things that we need to distract ourselves from, but we also need to make sure that our focus doesn't become so distorted that we stop being able to see clearly who we really are and what we've come here to be and do, and how much we belong to one another. And so that's the goal, right? In times of deep change, is to make sure that we're bringing ourselves fully to it, allowing ourselves to be unfolded in this deeper way. And I always come back to that Catherine of Siena quote, where she says, it's heaven all the way to heaven and hell all the way to hell, right? It's like, we got to do this path that we're walking the way we want to do it, whether we're feel like we know where we're going or not. We have to be willing to bring this deeper sense of who we are, and it's not something that happens somewhere else. And so there's a professor named Thomas Rapaldi who talks about the way we think about, especially children, and the way they experience life. And this is what he says: when we adults think of children, there's a simple truth we ignore. Childhood is not preparation for life. Childhood is life. A child isn't getting ready to live, a child is living. So children are constantly nagged with the question, what do you want to do when you grow up? And a courageous youngster, he says, would be one who is willing to say, I already am. And I think that this, as a spiritual truth for this time that we're living in, is that this isn't preparation for anything else. This isn't preparation for what comes after this time. This is life. This is it. And it's heaven all the way to heaven. And we already are. So how is it that we want to make sure that we're bringing this sense of, how do I want to work and rest? How do I want to be in community? How do I want to manage my time? How do I want to be in relationship? How do I see my responsibility in all of this? All of these are powerful questions to be asking about the now. Not some future time, not some when we're on the other side, but the now. So Mark Nepo in the Book of Awakening has this great line about what happens when we're in the middle of our own misery. So before I share that, I have to share, though, that I've been also one of the amazing things that's been happening over this last year is that I'm finding that I'm allergic to things that I didn't used to be allergic to. And I'm getting like crazy hives and things are biting me and causing all kinds of extreme reactions. In fact, even this morning I went to go pick some tomatoes and ended up with a rash all over my arm. Never before allergic to any of that. And it's really funny to be in the middle of that misery, right? Because it makes you really unfocused about anything else, because all you can feel is like that your hand is like wanting to like burn itself off of your body as it's like swollen to pieces. So thank you for hydrocortisone cream. But what's really interesting about that, right, is like when we're in the middle of our own misery, how we stop being able to focus on what's real and important. And so this is what Mark Nepo says: in actuality, misery is a moment of suffering allowed to become everything. Misery is a moment of suffering allowed to become everything. So when we're feeling miserable, we must look wider than what hurts. When feeling a splinter, we must, while trying to remove it, remember that there is a body that is not splinter, and a spirit that is not splinter, and a world that is not splinter. And so as we get our focus back, right, from all of the places we've distorted it that have allowed our misery to become everything, where we've forgotten that there's other things going on, that we actually are able to see that bigger place inside of us that's bigger than the splinter, bigger than the thing that isn't going the way we think it should, bigger than all of that. And that when we do that, we create that space, something else can happen. And so I'm actually really grateful for having felt so unfocused, because what it has allowed me to do is to realize that on a lot of levels, a lot of the busyness was hiding from what I really didn't want to be looking at. And once I was willing to look at what was really happening in me, I got clearer about that the world is bigger than the splinter or the hives or whatever it is. The world is bigger than that, that it is bigger than that next crisis that seems to always be looming. It is bigger than all of that. And we have the power to see that and be that and know that even in the midst of all of it. So I have one last piece to share with you. And this is a poem by Mary Oliver that I remember when I need to get a vision that is wider than the one I had before and get refocused. And this is what she says: I have refused to live locked in the orderly house of reasons and proofs. The world I live in and believe in is wider than that. And anyway, what's wrong with maybe? You wouldn't believe that once or twice I've seen. I'll just tell you this. Only if there are angels in your head will you ever possibly see one. And so here's our reminder that only if we're willing to focus on that bigger, wider place will we be able to experience that bigger, wider place inside of us that's calling us. And it's right there. So I'm going to ask the band to come on up because we're going to anchor into some prayer this morning. And I'm going to invite you to maybe think about some place that maybe there's been a momentary misery that you've allowed to become everything. Or there's something going on that just doesn't feel like it's right-sized, that it's become distorted in your vision and your experience. And we're going to see if handing it over to Spirit allows us to open ourselves to a bigger vision. So please join me as we sing into our prayer.
Pour your love in me. Pour your love into my heart. Prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free.
And so our prayer of love today is a prayer of remembering the wider view. The view that allows us to focus on what is real and important, that allows us to be clear and free and filled with love and possibility. And I just recognize that what we focus on expands, and so therefore I let my focus be on the possibilities, on what is still possible, on what is calling to us, what is available in each and every moment as we allow for Spirit to guide us deeper into this whole experience of transformation that is called life. And I recognize that we're already on that road together, and we're just more deeply committed to that path as we are called more powerfully into letting our love guide us, our wisdom express itself. And I just know that deep peace resides in that wider view with clear focus, and I allow that focus to continue to be drawn back to where it needs to be, so that whatever it is that really needs to be felt and heard and experienced can be. And so I just lean into this opportunity to be available to this deeper peace that comes from being willing to remember that we are eternal beings, shot here, all of space and time to be here now, in our own particular beautiful way. And we just allow for whatever that next right step is, whatever that movement of Spirit that is called for next, to happen with a grace and a trust and an ease that comes from being willing to see clearly that there is always more. More freedom, more love. And so we just let go into that. And we let it be. And so it is.
Prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Our prayer of love lifts us high. It heals us, sustains us, and sets us free. Gentlemen, 1, 2, oh, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Thank you guys so much for being here today in the midst of all of our chaos. I still think it's pretty gosh darn funny that, you put something on Craigslist like a whole week ago, and the one time that someone shows up is right in the middle of what you're doing outside when it's most inconvenient. That's just the story of my life right now. So there you go. Amusing. So thank you for being here today. There are baskets in the trees if you'd like to, I think, Yes, there are. I see them now. Baskets in the trees if you'd like to make a contribution. There's also places on our website to do that, onespiritualcenter.org. Thank you for supporting us in all of our many pursuits going on in all directions. It's so lovely to be back with y'all and be in your presence. And I believe that maybe we'll sing the right song even. Hey, we're going to pour yourself in me again. No. All right, let's sing.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith, hear that diesel humming. You don't need no tickets, you just thank the Lord. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. People get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers from coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board 'em. There's room for all that love the most. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's give thanks to the Lord and we can feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright.
And we have one last blessing to sing to one another.
Go forth and walk in beauty and know that we are one.
Last word quartet.